You know, our galaxy is packed with billions of stars, but some of them are just true cosmic oddities. We're talking about stars that spin so incredibly fast, they're literally tearing themselves apart. Today, we're going to dive into some new research that's shedding some much-needed light on one of astronomy's most compelling puzzles.
Right, so picture this. You're spinning in an office chair, going faster and faster until your arms just fly out to the side. Now imagine a star doing that, but instead of arms, it's flinging its own atmosphere into this massive ring out in space. Yeah, that's a real thing. And for decades, the biggest question has always been, why?
Okay, let's put a name to this thing. The star at the heart of our mystery is called a classical B star. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's a hot, massive star, a B-type star, that rotates at an absolutely mind-boggling speed. It spins so fast, it just can't hang on to all of its material, so it ejects this disk of gas from its equator. The technical term is a decretion disk, but honestly, it's way easier to just think of it as a giant gaseous hula hoop orbiting the star.
And this whole shebang, the crazy fast spin, the disk of gas getting thrown out, that's what astronomers call the B phenomenon. And believe me, it is a genuine puzzle that's had scientists scratching their heads for a long, long time.
And this is not some new question. The paper we're looking at today points out that astronomers have been on this case for almost a century. I mean, the first models trying to explain this stuff were proposed way back in the 1930s. So yeah, it's a persistent mystery, and the hunt is still on for that final, satisfying answer.
So, how in the world do you investigate a star that's hundreds, maybe thousands of light years away? Well, you become a kind of cosmic detective, and you learn how to look for clues hidden in its light. And the #1 tool for this job? It's called spectroscopy. It's this brilliant technique where you take that faint little dot of starlight and split it into its full rainbow of colors. Because hidden inside that rainbow is a unique code. It's like a chemical fingerprint that tells you all these incredible details about the star and what's happening around it.
And this is the smoking gun. This is exactly what astronomers are hunting for. You see that sharp spike? That is an emission line from hydrogen. Specifically, it's called H-alpha. When an astronomer sees that bright spike in a star's spectrum, it's like a giant neon sign screaming, "Hey, there's a hot, glowing disk of gas right here." It is the definitive proof.
Now, to make the hunt a little easier, astronomers know exactly where to look. Open clusters. You can think of these as stellar nurseries, big families of stars that all formed from the same cloud of gas at the very same time. And that makes them the perfect laboratory, because if all the stars are the same age, any differences you see between them are probably because of how they've evolved, not because they started out different.
Okay, let's get into how this new research really moves the needle. For a long time, the search for these spinning stars had a really specific focus, which, it turns out, might have left a huge part of the story completely untold.
See, most of the big surveys in the past, they all zeroed in on young star clusters. But the researchers behind this paper asked a really simple but really powerful question. What if we've been looking in the wrong place? Or at least not the only place? What if the key clues to this whole mystery were hiding somewhere nobody had really systematically looked before?
And this slide just lays out their new strategy perfectly. Before, almost all the work was on star clusters younger than 100 million years old. This study, they totally flipped the script. They did a massive survey of 71 open clusters that were all older than that. The goal was simple, really. Find out if this strange B phenomenon changes as these stars get on in years.
So the team aimed the Himalayan Chandra telescope at these older stellar families. They collected the light, they analyzed those chemical fingerprints. So what did they find?
Well, first and foremost, they found them. The survey successfully spotted 13 classical B stars in these older clusters, and that, right there, was a huge confirmation. These fast-spinning stars aren't just a thing that happens in young, energetic star systems.
And out of those 13, one was extra special. A star called TYC 2679432-1 turned out to be a brand new detection. Nobody had ever flagged it as a classical B star before this study. It was a completely fresh clue added to the board.
And here's the crucial part. They had rock-solid evidence. As the paper says, these 13 stars showed both that telltale H-alpha emission spike and an excess of infrared light. That infrared glow is another key signature of heat coming from the disk. So boom. Two separate lines of evidence, confirming those gaseous hula hoops were really there.
But just when you think the picture is getting clearer, the data threw a curveball. They found something completely unexpected. A new twist in the mystery of these spinning stars. Okay, this is fascinating. While they were hunting for that telltale spike of light, they found two stars that were already known to be B stars, but they showed the exact opposite. They had an absorption dip. This basically means the disk wasn't there glowing brightly. It seems to have vanished, at least for now. It's possible they caught these stars in a temporary diskless phase, something that had never been seen before in these older star clusters.
So, finding B stars with disks and then finding some that had maybe lost their disks, this gave the researchers a much wider view. It was finally time to connect their new clues to the bigger cosmic picture.
The big question was, what happens when you put it all together? What kind of pattern emerges when you combine this brand new data from old clusters with all the previous data from the young ones?
And this is the aha moment. This graph, straight from the paper, shows you exactly what happens. Now, at first glance, it might just look like a bunch of lines on a chart. But what you're actually seeing is a tale of two peaks, what astronomers call a bimodal distribution. And this pattern, well, this is pretty much the most important finding of the whole study.
Let me break it down. In the young clusters, the data clearly shows that the B phenomenon is most common among the hotter, more massive stars, the ones they call early B types. But in the older clusters from this new study, the peak has shifted. It's moved. Here, the phenomenon is way more common among the cooler, less massive, late B types. The bottom line is this: the most common type of B star you'll find actually changes depending on how old the cluster is.
And this isn't just random chance. No way. This is a crystal clear signal that the B phenomenon is directly tied to stellar evolution. The type of star most likely to be spinning itself into a frenzy and shedding a disk, that actually changes as the entire star family gets older. That's a huge clue.
So let's just do a quick recap of the big takeaways here. First, scientists confirmed a whole new population of B stars in older clusters, which is a place we hadn't really looked before. Second, they found the first real evidence that these stars can temporarily lose their disks in these older environments. And, most importantly, by putting all the data together, they uncovered this clear evolutionary pattern connecting a star's age to this whole B phenomenon.
So, is the century-old mystery of the B phenomenon completely solved? Well, no, not yet. But thanks to this research, a really crucial piece of the puzzle just snapped firmly into place, and it revealed this deep connection to time and evolution. And it really leaves you wondering, what other secrets are these incredible stellar spinning tops still hiding from us out there in the dark?